Hi everybody, this is your host Taj, who just got finished downloading the soundtrack to the musical that I'll be reviewing today. In fact, I'll probably be dancing to the soundtrack later, even though I can't dance, and there's video evidence to prove that, and I should probably delete that from existence. Yes, the film I'm talking about is La La Land, written and directed by Damien Chazelle. Damien Chazelle is an American screenwriter and director. La La Land will be his third film, and I think it's safe to say that he has a very strong love for music. His two previous films have had characters in some kind of musical profession, with the story often focusing very heavily on a musical subject. I haven't seen his first film. I believe it's called Guy and Madeline on a Park Bench. That's an incredibly specific title, but I have seen Whiplash, which was his second film, which is also right behind me right now, right here. Because of how amazing Whiplash was, I was incredibly excited to see what Damien Chazelle was going to do next, but then I had found out that La La Land was going to be a musical. I personally am not a huge fan of musicals. They can be really overbearing with the music. They're all happy and joyous and excited and warm-hearted and fuzzy, and I don't like them because I'm just an asshole and I don't like fuzzy stuff. And I think my distaste for musicals is also predicated by the fact that musicals today just aren't that great or unique. So I had passive interest going into this film, but I gotta tell you, after seeing this movie, I am like mind blown about how good this film is. La La Land follows two struggling artists trying to make it in LA. One is Mia, played by Emma Stone, she's an aspiring actress, and the other is Sebastian, played by Ryan Gosling, who's an aspiring jazz musician. They both meet each other through these various chance encounters in LA, and it ultimately results in them having a romantic relationship with one another. The relationship is challenged by the struggles of trying to make it in LA and their artistic ambitions, which seems to be pulling them away from each other the closer they get to achieving their goals. That is the main storyline of this film, but it's weird because this film also finds a way to tell several other different stories in a much more subtle way. Like how jazz was once great and now dying as an art form, and the desire to bring it back to its old glory and not to this electronic version of jazz that we have today that just seems so homogenized. But also looking to the future of art and not dwelling on the past, or the futility of living in LA and trying to make it as an artist. There's a lot going on in this film, and yet it's always coherent and seamless from beginning to end. The first 20 to 30 minutes of this movie is so energetic and hypnotizing. The opening scene is practically flawless, which takes place on an LA freeway in gridlock traffic where people get out of their cars and just break out into song and dance as a way of escaping the torment that is LA traffic. The camera follows this action on the freeway with these long takes whipping from one to the next very fluidly, and the scene is so well choreographed. But considering the budget of this film and how big this one scene was, I was so shocked at how they pulled it off. The scale of the scene is massive. They literally use an LA freeway ramp, and none of it is fake. They never use CGI to sell this scene. All the traffic, all the dancing, all the choreography, it's all real and it's all expertly done. This film is a huge love letter to musicals back in the day. At times it feels like nothing but an homage to musicals back in the day. There's one sequence in particular that I remembered that really reminded me of old musicals, where they take multiple shots and they change the opacity of these shots and layer them over each other with music playing so that they can show the passage of time in a very fun way. You can definitely see this film's influence in the costume design as well. Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling are very modestly dressed and very classy looking throughout the entire film. I also really liked how the dancers were always wearing very classy outfits with these very vibrant colors to add to the very saturated color palette of this movie. The film's presentation also feels very classy as well. Every scene feels so precise in its execution, whether it be the timing, the pacing, or the performances. One thing that this movie really excels at, it probably should because it's a musical, is the sound design. There's all sorts of sound cues, whether it be from the music or the different objects and devices around them, that help move the scenes along briskly and quickly. It's always great to see a filmmaker opt to use sound as a way to move from one scene to the next instead of using really clunky exposition. Damien Chazelle doesn't try to hide the fact that he's taking a lot of tricks from all these older films. In fact, I think he's kind of celebrating the genre as a whole, and I think he does this by doubling down on the ridiculousness of the genre, not in a bad way though, and if anything, it's more of a fun way. There's this epic scene where Emma Stone just like pulls these tap dance shoes out of her purse and puts them on, starts dancing with Ryan Gosling with the sunset of LA in the background. I was kind of wondering in the theater, like, does she just carry those around all the time just in case she needs to break out in a song and dance? This must be a great universe to live in where you can just dance on the spot if you could dance. The critiques I have with this movie are very picky. Ryan Gosling doesn't have the best singing voice, but he doesn't sing a whole lot in this movie. His character plays the piano way more often than he sings, and that would make sense because his character is established as a jazz pianist rather than a singer per se. This movie's also broken up into 5 acts or chapters based on the seasons of the year: winter, spring, summer, and fall. During the second chapter, the film slows down a little bit, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's during this part of the movie that they're falling in love, so there's a lot more dialogue scenes and a lot less music during this point in the film. There's nothing inherently wrong with the second act. It's just that the first act, or Winter, it was so energetic and so lively that it just felt a little slow in comparison to the fireworks that was the first 20 to 30 minutes of this movie. Other than that, there's really nothing else I can think of that's wrong with this movie. It's incredibly well written, it's incredibly well directed, well shot, well acted, well edited. Don't be surprised if Emma Stone gets a nod for Best Actress at the Oscars this year for the role that she has in this film. I think I might have spoken too soon about Arrival being the best film of 2016, because after seeing this, I feel like this is one of those movies that is a classic that people will watch for years. It will be a film that you have in your living room movie cabinet right next to Titanic. I don't own the Titanic, I swear to God. I still have a couple more films to see from 2016, but as of right now, I don't think anything's gonna get much better than this. La La Land is a masterpiece, and I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. Guys, thanks for watching this review. I do not give out perfect grades lightly, so with that said, I highly recommend you watch this film, obviously. Even if you're an asshole who prefers really dark movies like myself, I still think you'll be able to appreciate this movie in many ways. If you have any strong feelings about this movie like myself, please write in the comments section below, and if there's anything you would like me to review, please write it down there as well. Thanks again, guys. This is Josh. Oh my gosh. Shout out to your boy Chris Bosch from a team in sport that I don't even watch. Signing off until next time.